Men understand this. We are assets, but we are also someone's children.
These women are protesting against the killing of women and girls in Kenya.
Kenyan athletes are getting better and better, and their times are getting quicker. In Kenya, athletics is not just a sport, it's a source of pride and hope. Many women end up having great lives as a result of athletics. But in all this success, there is a darker reality that comes about when men in society view women as prey.
Marathon as well. So this is kind of modus operandum for Sivan to come down to a big burn-up over the last four.
So often if you have one or two fantastic athletes who will get to the front, the bell to go. Sivan Hassan now charging. She's into fourth. The Kenyans.
Investigations into the death of Agnes Tirop, Kenya's world record holder and two-time world championship bronze medalist, have begun. Agnes was found dead at her home in Iten in Elgeyo Marakwet County with a stab wound on her neck.
Ugandan marathon runner Rebecca Cheptegei has died 4 days after being set on fire in an alleged attack by her boyfriend. The Olympic athlete was reportedly doused with petrol at her home in western Kenya, where she'd been training. Cheptegei, who was 33, sustained burns on more than 70% of her body. Boyfriend was also injured. There are concerns about the increasing cases of violence against female athletes in Kenya, some of which have resulted in death.
Hiyo mtu naletanga watu hiyo boma ya mtoto kufunga hiyo boma. Lakini sina nini.
I'm Maurice Obilo. I've coached for professionally 10 years now, but I've been coaching for like 17 years right now. It's sad. Sad is even in the country we have lost few athletes because of the same thing. It is sad, but I think people need to speak up. People need to speak up. I also think that the athletes, maybe you're going through something, but because you're a high-profile player, you don't want to put your issues outside there. But you should at least have 2 or 3 guys that you can actually talk to. And also, to my fellow coaches, you need to be welcoming. Allow the kids or the players or the athletes you're working with to get free and also talk to you about some of the things in their personal lives. You might be able to save a life.
My name is Presbyterian Zena Agiambo. Yes, I think women in sports are vulnerable in all sorts ways because maybe sometimes you struggle so much when you're looking for a team or a sport to play. So you have to look for some ways that will help you to go in a sport.
My name is Owen Blessed. It's sad because there's a lot of things going on, female like being tortured, all those stuff in sports. I think it's pretty bad for them.
While the world admires Kenyan runners for their strength and resilience, many female athletes are confronted with a pervasive threat when they come home: violence and, tragically, death.
I'm here because of one issue. This gender-based violence issue. I'm standing here because something has to be done. And it has to be done now, not tomorrow. Not any other day. It has to start today. We are here because we're putting our sisters to rest. But we are also here to raise our voices. We need to be heard as women. We need people to understand that we are not tools. We are not anyone's property.
Cultural attitudes towards women in sports often contribute to a climate of fear and violence. Experts argue that this misogyny is deeply rooted in society. Recent statistics reveal alarming rates of femicide among women in sports. This raises urgent questions about safety and support for female athletes.
To get married, and I am so saddened that that she had to go through that. She had to die because of insecure partner, a jealous one. Yeah.
Most of our senior players who should be doing that are actually them themselves. They went through almost the same thing. So I think maybe they are scared or something, but we don't have so many players talking about it. I don't know if they're afraid or I don't know, but we don't have. Being open. You just need to be yourself. Tell it out the way it is. If a coach like me comes to you and tells you, for you to do A, B, C, D, you have to do this. You just need to be open about it, so that if my name is outside there that I'm doing it, most probably I'll be eliminated from the sports, and people will learn from that. And maybe somebody else, if they're thinking that they will do it or they want to do it, they will stop, and that might help. Sometimes these things happen, kids are quiet with it, and the other guys will just pick it up. So I think they just need to be open, they need to be confident. The way I was saying, they need to be comfortable to speak up. Yeah, that's the only thing that will help us.
The fear of violence doesn't just affect individual athletes, it echoes through the entire sports community. Many female athletes are now reconsidering their participation in the sport they love because of fear of the men in their lives turning against them due to unjustified reasons such as money and jealousy.
The horrifying and dark tale of how women continue to suffer domestic violence under the hands of men, and my hope and prayer is that she will find justice, and finally we have systems at work that enable women to be free from oppressive behavior such as this by men, and overall more freedom for women in general, because this case is very heartbreaking to see, and it's not the first incident, unfortunately it won't be the last.
Stories have been happening a lot, and I hope that these relationships where men are using some issues to take out women, it's very bad, and I think as a country and just as a community and the society, we should look deeper into the issues that are leading to these challenges.
We try to create women awareness and gender awareness across all networks through sports.
Stories of these athletes remind us of the urgent need for change. Together, we can break the silence and fight against the violence that threatens the life of female athletes.
Ruto cannot come and say there is femicide. He has an extra role. He should tell us how many people have been arrested this year because of femicide. Yes. How many? They cannot come and complain like us. So why are they the government?
I'm really enraged. I am quite disturbed by the killing of women that has continued. We lost Agnes, and she was a world record holder. Now we've lost other girls who are schoolgirls. How far is this going to go before it ends?
The story of Agnes Tirop and Rebecca Cheptegei are not just other stories. This is the story of two women whose lives were stolen from them. The story of a sister, a daughter, a friend, whose name now reduced to a headline. Two young women, two athletes, both at an age when the world was at their feet, full of promise, full of potential, and now gone. Their lives were stolen not by some moment of fate or accident, but by the brutal, calculated violence of femicide, a crime that, frequent as it is, still manages to shock us. not only by the horrific nature of such an act, but because it still happens with an impunity that appears to say this is normal. These two women were not only athletes, they were also symbols of strength, resilience, and hope. They were role models for girls around the world, showing them that women can make it to the top in sports, break barriers, and beat expectations. And yet such extraordinary strength, such undeniable talent, was not enough to save them from that which they should have had every right to be able to trust above all else: safety. No one is ever supposed to lose a life in that manner, and no one is ever supposed to live in fear that their life could be taken simply because of their gender. We can't look past where the violence in these women's life intersected with the environment in which they existed. Elite athletes celebrated for their greatness, yet vulnerable in a society too often willing to turn a blind eye toward the violence women suffer in the shadows. It is very easy to cheer for the victories, to cheer for them as they compete. But when that game is over, those cameras turn off, then what? And let's make one thing clear. Femicide doesn't discriminate based on status. It doesn't discriminate because one is wealthy, famous, or successful. It accesses all women with the same brutal disregard for life. These two athletes were victims of a system that had failed to hold accountable those who commit such acts of violence. Justice for these two athletes does not end with the investigation. It does not end with the arrests or the headlines. True justice is about changing society, a society that refuses to normalize violence against women, a world where women are safe no matter what their profession is, no matter what great things they achieve. It means breaking the silence around femicide, yelling louder than ever for the voices of the victims, demanding justice for each lost life.